Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of True Story Live. Tonight we have the Thanksgiving holiday weekend closure and wrap party. It's a wrap on Thanksgiving, everyone. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. Glenn is on a cruise with his wonderful wife, and he's not going to be here next week either. And then with the holidays this past week, and for us, a 4-day holiday weekend. And unfortunately, Marisa has been a little under the weather. We certainly understand that. We just wanted to have kind of a short, abbreviated broadcast tonight for anyone who comes into the chat or listens to the playback. Talk a little bit about the holidays, and I would love to talk about what everyone did over Thanksgiving. We also want to talk a little bit about the understanding that there's a lot of people out there where holidays are difficult for them. Just have a discussion about that tonight. And if you guys want to share any of your fondest or worst holiday memories, now we are kind of focusing on Thanksgiving tonight, but you do not have to do that. If holidays in general are difficult for you, you want to talk about that, or they're great, you love them, then we can discuss that a little bit too. So I've already mentioned that Glenn isn't going to be here tonight, so we'll wish him holiday greetings wherever he is, and he must know that he does not have to have any turkey. He hates it, doesn't want it near his mouth.
He hasn't had my turkey. I'll just say that much. He hasn't had my turkey.
How do you make your turkey?
Succulent. I make it with organic sage. I use the oven bag. Here's a tip.
Yeah.
If your turkey's dry, go and get ye an oven bag. You will never have another dry turkey.
Get ye to an oven baggery.
That's right.
Turkey baggery.
They make all the difference in the world. They cut the cooking time way down, and it's always juicy and good. And it saves on the mess. It's all good. It's an all-win.
All win. It's a win-win situation.
Certainly.
I love it.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. So everybody knows the panel, but we'll just have everyone say hello real quick. Marisa, you're up first. Say a little hello, and if you have any other thing you want to say to open our broadcast up, please take the time to do so.
Hello, everybody, and I hope everyone had a wonderful time of being thankful. We're supposed to be thankful every single day, but particularly with the Thanksgiving holiday. You can do that any day of the week. You can do it any time of the year. And I hope that everybody that is hearing this, whether it's live or replay, had a good time with family, friends, loved ones, people that you care about, and that you had some good food and some laughter and love. I certainly did, and I hope you guys did too. I am not one who celebrates the rest of the holidays that are coming up, but I do celebrate Jesus, and I celebrate Jesus every day. I don't have to do that on a certain day.
Right.
And I still don't have a problem with somebody who wants to keep Jesus in their heart no matter what day of the year it is.
Right.
So.
Right. Good. You nailed it. Thanks, Marisa. All right, let's hear from Jenn. Jenn, same thing for you. Say hello to everyone if you want. If any opening comments for tonight's broadcast, please give them.
Well, hello, everybody. Good to be here. Thankful for all of you guys, and really thankful for this show. It's so nice to have a group of people on the panel and in the chat to discuss life happenings with. And it's just nice. I always have conversations and thoughts and questions bopping around in my big head.
Yeah. normal sized head.
Big head, not meaning like I'm full of myself, just all those thoughts bouncing around, it keeps expanding now. But no, it's great to be able to come here and chat about thoughtful things with all of you. And I'm very, very grateful and thankful for that. And just grateful for everybody in the chat that keeps showing up and being a part of the discussion, and the people that pray and are encouraging to other people. It's just wonderful. I really appreciate it. And we had a good turkey day. And I will say, my sister-in-law, Shannon, Jason's sister, she also used the turkey bag. And it was very moist, wonderful. And you're right, it did cut down on the cooking time. You're completely correct in that, Marisa. And
Oh,
I've heard
wonderful.
I've heard that if you roast a turkey upside down, that also helps. But I can imagine the bag is even way better than that,
Oh,
with
yeah.
keeping the moisture in. So
Wow.
good stuff. Good
And
stuff.
you don't have to baste. You can just let it cook in there the whole time. It's
Mhm.
fantastic.
It's an enclosed system.
It is. Much like the earth that we live on, yes.
Oh, wow. That was good, Dave. That was
Our
good.
very own turkey bag.
Now,
Or a bunch of turkeys.
nobody worry. Tonight is not about talking about an enclosed system, though that was brilliant and clever on both
It was-
parts. So,
That's my little joke.
yeah. So just to finish the greetings, I'm Jason. I go by Crips. If you're listening to this for the first time, this is not our normal broadcast system situation. It just is a little bit of a special get together for the end of the holiday season. And if you don't celebrate holidays and Thanksgiving means nothing to you, then it's just an hour to just kind of hang out a little bit and then to wish everyone a good end of November. This is the last broadcast of November on the calendar. Their their names for the months and whatever they call it, that's what they call it, November. So we're going to go with that. And then so the next time we see everyone, it'll be in December, the first broadcast. We're broadcasting with calves. That'll be in December. And so hello, everyone. We're glad that you're here. If you're listening to playback, thank you for taking the time. We hope that your holiday went well, too. And that if you didn't celebrate the holiday, we hope that you got together with some friends or people that you care about and they care about you. Because to me, that's what holidays should all be about in the end. You don't have to celebrate a special day, just like Marisa was saying, but to show love towards your neighbors. That doesn't have to be one season of the year. Peace on earth, goodwill toward men can happen year round. Doesn't have to be a special day. I think that was a great point. Jen, if you could take a minute and say hello to whoever you see in the chat, and then we'll just get started with our conversation. We've already kind of started with the talking of how to cook a turkey. We may say more about that here in a minute.
All right. So we got Mr. Tony from Tony's Coffee House. Hey, Tony. We have Miss Nesleva, who is on the stream with us and in the chat. Hello, Nezzy. Jamie Grace is here. We also have Debbie S. Hey, Debbie. Nathan Gruber was in here earlier. I don't know if he's still lurking around. And Okie Grower popped in. First comment of the evening. Hey, guys.
Oh, I missed
Great to see you.
Hi, Okie.
Yeah, welcome, everyone. We're glad that you guys are
Tony.
here. And also, this is me just popped in. Hello, this is me. We're glad that you're here as well. I hope. This is me says. Let's see. It wasn't a holiday for us in Canada, so it doesn't really apply. Okay. If you're in other countries that don't celebrate Thanksgiving, it doesn't apply. I get it. So as I said, this will just be an hour of just getting together and having a conversation. So yeah, we're not trying to leave Canada out.
Or Australia.
Or
other countries.
or New Zealand, or Europe in general, or China, or Japan. I mean, we all have our weird holidays, and this just happens to be one that we have celebrated for quite some time here in the States. So the basic tenets, for those of you that do not know, basic tenets of Thanksgiving, I'm sure people have different reasons why they celebrate it, but for me, it is a time to get together with family, to overeat. Now, you don't have to overeat, as people keep pointing out. You can eat healthy food during. Well, yeah, you could, you could do that, but this is one time a year that people generally put their sweatpants on and they put on the feed bag and they eat turkey and ham and stuffing and green bean casserole and lots of desserts.
Mashed taters.
Various mashed potatoes. My wife makes incredibly good food, and she made some mashed potatoes take over to my sister's house, and it was a nice little spread over there at the house.
Oh, cool.
But other than the food, Thanksgiving is traditionally is supposed to be a time in which we are thankful for the blessings given to us by God. And yes, when Thanksgiving came about, at least in America, the people that ran the country at least made believe that God was important to them. And they knew that it was important to, at that time, probably the majority of people, at least under the pretense of imagining that that we have all these wonderful things in America because of the provision of our Heavenly Father. Now, don't even ask me where we are today with all of that, but that's what it at least seemed like at a certain time. But it has remained, despite the efforts of people that want to make it a negative thing. Like they want that for the past few years, especially. They wanted to point out that supposedly we killed a bunch of Indians and did all these horrible things, and they want to make it about indigenous people and how we subjugated them and things like that. But the interesting thing is that they're not even the indigenous people. I mean, they certainly were here, but there's some evidence to say that people have been living in America for quite some time. So we don't know who is here, really. That's not the point I'm trying to make, though. There's people out there that will try to ruin any good time for anyone, and that's what they're trying to do for Thanksgiving. But I had a wonderful time. As Jen said, we went over to my sister's house and had a nice meal, and my dad is still alive, and so he was there. And I did miss a lot of people. Every year we have Thanksgiving since 2017. My mom went on to be with the Lord, and Thanksgiving was a big deal to her. She always cooked and made certain things, and she had little traditions which are hard to let go of. And when a person like that is gone, at least temporarily, so also go the traditions. Now you can decide to do those traditions, things that are important to you, but they're just not the same without the person being there. But despite all that, I have had various Thanksgivings, some good, some bad. And this one was a really good one. I enjoyed time with my wife. And there wasn't anything negative that happened this year. So that's my opening salvo when it comes to talking about my Thanksgiving. And either Jenn or Marisa, if you want to share how your Thanksgiving went, just whatever you want to talk about, please do.
All right. Well, I'll jump on here next. My Thanksgiving, on Thanksgiving Day, Diana and I went to where her dad lives with his roommate, and his roommate's name is Curtis. And Curtis likes to cook as well. And he's
Cool.
he's a little bit old. He's like old enough to be our big brother.
Oh.
And Curtis made a ham, and that was really good. Rod made his own duck.
Mm.
I couldn't believe it. He always wants duck. It's all dark meat. It's greasy. If you like greasy dark meat, you'll love duck. Not my thing,
No.
but he had. So we each had our own meat. I brought over the turkey that I made, and we had potatoes. I made a great big thing of green bean casserole.
Yeah.
And that got devoured, and so then I had to make another one for when my son came the next day. I went through 2 casseroles.
Wow.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff.
Good. So you got a chance to get together with a few people that love you and that you love, and enjoy the day.
Yes, yes, indeed.
That's awesome.
It was a beautiful, beautiful day, and I got to celebrate with my son when he came the following day. So that was nice. So I got to do, dinner for him as well. So 2 meals in 2 days. Holy cow.
Wow.
And all kinds of leftovers, and wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I have had a few Thanksgivings where I've had more than one meal with different people. One year in particular, there were 3 meals. There's one with my family, one with my roommate, and then our neighbor who I helped move some furniture for her one day and put get the love seat out of the back of a car. Her sons weren't there, our neighbors. They were both gone. And I saw her struggling in the rain with this love seat by herself.
Aww.
Of course, I got up and went out there and helped her. And she was so moved by that she invited me over for Thanksgiving. And I didn't have the heart to tell her, well, I've already got 2 other meals planned. No. What I did, now this is ingenious. What I did is at each meal, I just ate a little bit, just and enjoyed soaked up the friendship and family and frivolity, and went to the next one, did the same thing there. And then the last meal that I had, which ended up being the neighbor's meal, then I was able to put on the feed bag, so to speak, and eat a little bit more, and then go home for my yearly tryptophan-induced nap. And those are, I don't care what anyone says. What about you, Jen? Do you want to share how your Thanksgiving went from your perspective?
Yeah, it was really good. It was, I spent the morning cooking pumpkin pie and peeling and boiling a bunch of mashed potatoes and lots of sticks of butter and sour cream and pepper and salt. And
yeah,
that was fun. And I actually love being in the kitchen. I love cooking and baking. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And it smelled so good. Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Yeah. And going over to Shannon's was wonderful. She had quite the spread. She cooked so much stuff. One of the casseroles that stole the entire show is this casserole called corn casserole.
Yeah.
And I've never had it before. And I'm not usually a corn eater. It's not that I don't like it. It just GMOs and stuff.
That sounds like something my grandmother used to make. Is it made with creamed corn and regular corn?
I think so. Is it sweet, your grandmother's?
Yeah, it's a little bit too sweet for my taste.
Yeah, it's definitely sweeter for a casserole. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I
think
loved
it would be a good base if you put, say, chili and cheese and stuff maybe on top of it. And, I was experimenting with it when my grandmother used to make it years ago.
Oh, to like calm down the sweetness?
Yeah, to go against that too much sweet for me.
I loved it. Oh my gosh. I was like, this is so good. It was kind of like having dessert on the plate with the other dinner stuff, but it was so yummy.
Now, do you do the sweet potatoes with the marshmallows?
Yeah, I do.
You do?
Jason doesn't like the marshmallows, but I love sweet potatoes with or without marshmallows.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that can go right on by the conveyor belt. Give me the stuffing and give me the green bean casserole. Oh, yeah.
Yes, the green bean casserole is one of my favorites.
What I'm talking about.
So we had a little bit of wine and then played a bingo game before we left, a bingo game with prizes. That was like for the kids. It was really fun. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I won a Christmassy mug, which is always nice for me. Yeah.
Oh, we need to get that stuff out of the car, by the way.
Yes, we do. We do. We'll handle that for sure. So it sounded like everyone had a good holiday, and so my question is, well, first of all, anyone in the chat, if anyone wants to share how your Thanksgiving went, or share what your favorite food to have at Thanksgiving. One thing I will say, the whole sweet potato or yam dessert with the marshmallows, that's the thing that I didn't like. And it seemed to, I was a little confused by my parents all the time trying to control my food. And then at certain meals, they all seemed very preoccupied with making sure that I had a little bit of everything. And I just didn't like it. It was too sweet for me. Now, my sister makes it. She had some the other day, and I had a little spoonful of it, and it was good. It's not that it's horrible, but she doesn't use the marshmallows. She used kind of like what is that topping, Jen? Do you know like what that's? But it's like a graham cracker or something. Do you know what she used for the top of that thing?
Which thing?
The yam stuff.
Oh, I actually didn't try any of that.
Oh, you didn't?
So I'm not sure what was on it. Pretzels?
Anyway,
I don't know.
Anyway, it was good, and it wasn't the marshmallows. Now, the marshmallows, I just will avoid it at all cost. But I know people like it. See, here's the thing about me. there's certain things I don't like, but if someone else likes it, gosh, I want them to have it. You know, I want them to enjoy what they enjoy, and I just want to enjoy or not enjoy what I want to not have in my mouth. That's all. So, Edward Kim, welcome. We're glad that you're here. Also, hello to Rachel. Rachel Munfee is here. We're glad to see you. And I think that's it. A couple other people dropped in. The Swedes, Wise Metric, and Broken Archer. I'm not familiar with you guys, so if you're not,
but I am.
Oh, you are. Are they all? Are they all trolls? Is that the deal?
I please check your private message.
Oh, check my private message. Let me do that. While I'm doing that, let's see. Jamie says I am on my way next week to get my faulty gallbladder out, so I had to be very careful with the food. It was still good, but there was lots of good stuff I couldn't have, so it was just a little. Yeah, well, good. I mean, we all make better food choices for different reasons, and so I certainly understand that. And Cracker Barrel, this brings up a topic. So there were several years that my sister's family, they did the Christmas tree lot. This goes back about, I think they've been doing it for like 16 years. I think when they first started doing it, Dre was just little, and now Dre's in college or second year in college. So that tells you how long that's been going on. And so they didn't have a typical Thanksgiving. And that was very difficult for me. I very much was someone later in life who wanted to be part of tradition and things like that. And having been a more rebellious person in my teenage years, and what it turned out to be was that I just wanted to stay away from my toxic family. But then later I spent a lot of time thinking that it was my fault, and I took responsibility for my own stuff, which is not a bad thing. And I wanted to, have another chance at having these times with my family. And then they weren't doing it because of the Christmas tree lot. And actually, it ended up being a good thing. But because of that, I kind of let go of this whole tradition thing. And then once I let go of it, I met Jenn, and every day is special. Every day is a holiday for us. And then so when there is an actual holiday, it ends up being a really, really wonderful time. That's what I'm figuring out. This epiphany I had this week, in fact. And so I'm just delighted to have a holiday come about. And it's just pretty much the same as other days, except maybe there's more food, maybe there's more family involved. And it just ends up being a wonderful time. So, yeah, there's that.
Good stuff.
There's good stuff.
Progress.
I don't see anything in the private chat, so I don't know. Maybe there's something wrong with my.
No, it went to Messenger, not the private chat.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. I got it.
I want to know how many people in the chat have a hard time around the holidays with family.
There you go. That's the next topic.
How do you guys do with hanging out with family? Some of you may do great, and you got healthy, wonderful, life-affirming relationships with your family. Marisa cracks up.
Oh boy.
Edward says he gets really depressed. I'm sorry about that, Edward.
Well, that's kind of why we wanted to talk about it, because, I shared a little bit about what I went through, and it was hard for me during those years when my family were kind of doing their own thing. And here I was in this place. Hey guys, let's get together. And I want things to be better. And it just wasn't the same. So there was a lot of Thanksgivings. I have a friend that I've known since we were 5 and 7, Marcus, and he and I would find a restaurant that was open. They do exist, and that would serve Thanksgiving dinner. Then he and I would go enjoy that, just the two of us. And sometimes he would bring his elderly parents along, and we would enjoy their company for a couple hours that way as well. So there are things that a person can do, even if it's not a traditional holiday setting. But there have been some times that I felt really lonely, and I felt really kind of alienated, and things like that. And it's not easy when it seems like there's this expectation around the holidays that, you should be happy. You should, be with family. You should, be jolly, things like that. And sometimes it just isn't happening. So what do you do when that's the case? When you don't have a lot of family, or maybe you're estranged from your family? What does that look like for you guys? Anyone want to? Oh, go ahead, Marisa.
I'll jump in there. I've spent Thanksgiving just about every kind of general scenario you can think of, from the traditional extended family where you pull the dining room table farther apart to put the leaves in and fit more people around. At grandma's, I've done that for years. I remember great grandparents being involved early on. I've been there when people started to marry off and go with their other families, new families, and things got smaller.
Sure.
I've been there where you go out to eat and nobody's cooking.
Right.
I've been on the road and had dinner by myself at a bus station or in transit somewhere. Going to see somebody, nice, but still I was, alone at that moment,
Right.
I've been there many different ways. But for me, God was always there, Jesus was always there. Right. And it's no matter what, it's always important to remain thankful. And so I always had, something to eat. I always had, some kind of shelter. Many things to be thankful for. It doesn't have to look like a Norman Rockwell painting for it to be deemed a good, acceptable Thanksgiving. I think we're kind of brainwashed by movies and programmed by TV that you've got to do this and you got to have this in a certain way, and no, you don't. That's all nonsense.
I agree.
It's the people and it's the sentiment that matters.
It is. Wow, good point, Marisa. Thank you. What about you, Jen? Have you had some difficult Thanksgivings, knowing the answer is yes?
This one was a little bit tough because, first I'll back up and I'll say, my family, I don't know if I've mentioned this on the show, but they're a little preoccupied with like jobs and benefits and this other stuff, which I'm not saying is not important. It is important.
Sure.
But I guess it was 2 years ago. Yeah. We went to Thanksgiving at my parents', and it was a few days after we got married. And I walk up on the front porch. My brother Dave is there. And the first thing out of his mouth is something along the lines of, "Hey, you got a full-time job yet?" And I'm just like,
oh my God. Are you serious? Just this happened the other day?
Oh, no. 2 years ago it happened.
Oh, okay. All right. Still terrible, but
so, I know, right?
It's still terrible.
So, it was exactly. So it was no like, "Hey, newlyweds, how is your wedding?" Or
Nothing.
"How's your marriage going?" Or nothing. It just didn't seem personal, or it just was awful. And at that point in time, 2 years ago, I didn't really know how to respond. I felt like I was in that place my whole life up to that point, where I was always so shocked when people did stuff like that, to the point where I didn't know how to respond. Like, what do you, if like someone just slapped me? So I just was like, I don't even remember how I answered it. It's like, whatever. But, and
I think you came in and told me what had just happened, for one thing. Jen?
Uh-oh, we might lose her.
Well, she's not muted. We'll see if
but you know how StreamYards does this sometimes. Yeah.
Am I there?
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, I muted then unmuted. That seemed to work. That was weird. Okay. I didn't mute it. I wasn't laughing then, but I can laugh at it now because I think it's funny. Now, this past one, I haven't been talking to my parents for a while because of some stuff that happened over the summer. So we decided not to do Thanksgiving from where I'm from with my family.
Right.
Now, I'm actually kind of grateful because I just never know what's going to come out of their mouths. Sometimes it's fine. And sometimes there's questions asked or things said that are like barbs.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like not all the time, but it stinks to look forward to being around your family and recognize that I don't feel very good about myself when I'm around them. And I'm not saying we should feel great about ourselves around, but I mean, when you're around people that are healthy, that love you, that see you, that accept you, you do have a sense of feeling good about yourself.
Right.
But I always feel less than when I'm around my family.
Right.
And some of that's me. It's not all them. Some of it's me and my own self-esteem, which is my responsibility
Sure.
to deal with and take care of. But I just feel like the units of concern that they have with jobs and benefits and stuff is quite a bit higher than mine.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I'm more focused on relationships with people, God, my husband, close friends, just relational things,
Yeah.
relationships.
Yeah.
Relation sounds like
Relations,
sex. Sorry.
relational.
Relationships.
I love it. Love
Clear
it.
that up. So I did miss them this Thanksgiving, but it was a little bit of a relief not to go and have something said or done and just still be struggling with letting that stuff roll off my back,
Yeah.
because when it's family, it's, you grow up when you're little and you see yourself and your identity is wrapped up in your family. And unfortunately for me, my identity has been wrapped up in my family for far too long after crossing over into adulthood.
Yeah.
So that's done.
Exactly.
I'm like, but there's still remnants. There's still remnants of that sticky stuff. Ugh.
Yeah.
I do love my family. I think
Sure.
we're very different,
Right. One of the things you said, Jen, you took responsibility for part of it being yours, but I just want to focus just for a second on this idea that if you feel lesser than around certain people, I think it says more about them doing something that makes you feel uncomfortable, and it's not all you. That sounds
And
reasonable to me.
that's a really good point, because it's like, I understand that we do have control over how we feel, but if someone is being obviously rude or questioning something that they know, it's obvious that they know it's going to hurt your feelings, or that you're sensitive, or that it's a topic you don't want to talk about, it just seems a little more on purpose. And I think it's harder to not let those things affect you when it's
Right.
obvious it's on purpose.
Right.
It's that line
Right.
gets blurred. What's my responsibility? What's normal to react?
Right. And getting back to the story that you shared about the first, 2 years ago, and we just got married on the 19th of that year. So here it is, a week later or so, they know that this happened. And the first thing that a person says to you is, "Hey, how about the full-time job? What's up with that?"
Yeah.
That could have been handled way better than that. Like, I would even understand if first he asked, "How are you guys doing? We know you just got married. How's that? How's the trip?" A couple filler questions,
Before you
in
go
there.
there.
Right?
What it makes me feel, and I'm not saying this is necessarily correct or healthy, but when things with family or anybody, when there's that much focus on that, or something that isn't the core of who you are, like, I'm not what I do. That's not who I am. You know what I mean? And a lot of people, that is what they do as a career. It is their identity, but that's not me. But it makes me feel like that's who I am, and that's how I'm measured as a person. Instead of my heart or my mind or how I love people. You know what I mean? It's very jarring and weird to me. It's very weird to me. I'm like, what?
It is.
That was the first thing you're going to say to me. And I hadn't seen him since, like, I think the Thanksgiving before, like a year earlier.
Right.
So I'm like, really, this is the thing on your mind that you want to ask me about your only sister, like, that you haven't seen in a year? Like, what is this?
Right.
It's like an obsession.
Well, I think it is an obsession. I think they choose a topic, and even though you make it clear that it makes you uncomfortable, they seem to keep gravitating. It's like they can't help themselves.
Right. And particularly people who are toxic, particularly narcissists, they want to triangulate you. They want to provoke responses from you. not because they care how you're doing, not because they're interested in what you're going to answer, just because they want to poke and prod and feed off of that energy, whether you respond in a good way or a negative way. They'll take
Right.
whatever you got.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
I agree.
I wish I could have said, "Hey, thanks for asking me about how our wedding went. That's so sweet of you, Dave."
They don't care.
I'll see you inside.
They don't care.
No,
Someone
no.
who cares, someone who genuinely cares, you won't have to wait. They will let you know with their
Yeah.
words and their actions. Hey, I love
Absolutely.
you. How are you? I've missed you. Is there anything I can do for you? Something like that. Not a
Right.
rundown of what I think is wrong with you or how you displease me or how you embarrass me or fill in the blank of the negative. And I can
Right.
call you
Yeah.
out on it at a family gathering for the millionth freaking
It's
time.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
yeah. And I do
We all
understand
been
like the
there.
social norm. It seems to be normal for when people come together, even in a crowd of strangers. Like the first question, Jason and I've talked about this a lot. The first question out of people's minds are, "What do you do?" Or if they know you're in college, "What are you studying?" So sometimes it is kind of like a starter, on conversation. But that I don't think
Yeah.
that's what this was.
No.
So
provocation
that's
is
one of my
provocation.
stories. Yeah, that is today.
So just really quick, because we did kind of want to talk about this anyway. So Mr. Edward Kim has mentioned in the chat. First of all, he asked if he's been talking about depression during the holidays and things like that, and he wanted to come on the panel. And Edward, I apologize. We're just doing a short broadcast tonight. I very much like to get in touch with you. We'd be happy to talk to you off air if you wanted to. And perhaps we can set up something else another time for you to, come on the panel and whatnot. So it's nothing against you. We're just, like I said, we're just getting together for a short time tonight. But as Nez said to you in the chat, if you want to ask any questions, please go ahead and ask them in the chat. We're happy to address your questions. Not a problem whatsoever. And that's open to anyone. But he did bring up depression during the holidays, and that's it's an important topic. So let's just talk about that just a little bit. We were kind of opening up to that topic anyway when I was talking about being alone at the holidays and how that feels. And I think I think it was Marisa that mentioned it, but there's this expectation. And she said brainwashed, and that's very much the case. We're brainwashed by TVs and movies and things like that. And the culture in general, that certain holidays, now this is all selfish on their part because they want to sell greeting cards and they want to have that Black Friday go out with the bang. So a lot of this family, these picturesque Norman Rockwell type of paintings and images are made to make people feel like this is something you have to have. And what if you don't? Then you just kind of feel alienated and kind of on the outside of things if it doesn't look like a traditional holiday season for you. So not just Thanksgiving, but all holidays in general, with this cultural expectation that things should be a certain way for everyone, and it's just not. That can come with some depression. Anyone want to comment on that?
I was going to say, especially when, society and maybe your family or friends expect you to be happy, it almost seems like that added pressure to have a smile on your face makes being depressed worse. It just makes you more sad because you're recognizing, you're thinking this is where I should be and I'm not there.
Right.
And trying to force it, it's not good.
It's not good. So the best thing I think, and this is what I've done in the past, is most of us at least know one person that we can talk to. But if you don't, then there are things you can do. There are people that you can reach out to. There's chat forums like everyone here is in the chat, and there are people here that are loving people. And, that sometimes just talking to someone like that can be comforting. There are groups like on Facebook and things like that for this very thing, for seasonal depression, things like that. But depression is nothing nothing to sneeze at. It's a very a difficult thing to feel, especially at a time when, again, there's this pressure that everyone is supposed to be jolly. You know, that's generally Christmas time, but that still during all holidays, it seems like, oh, and like Valentine's Day, for instance. I have been single more Valentine's Day than I have been with someone my entire life. And Valentine's Day is a perfect example of when, it's geared toward couples. It just is. So if you're not a couple, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah.
Same thing with New Year's Eve. I don't know how this ever happened, but this idea of being with someone on New Year's Eve and getting a kiss as the clock strikes midnight and then a kiss in the new year. Now, fortunately, if I want that, I can get that. But there are more years that I haven't had anyone, and I sat depressed in a bar or in someone's house on New Year's, and everyone's like throwing their hats around and blowing gazoos and whatnot. And here I am not having anyone to ring in the new year with. That's difficult. And I think that we've kind of put our finger on the pulse of this thing, that it's not us that's the problem. It's the narrative that things should be a certain way. And a lot of times it's not. What do you think, Marisa? Do you want to weigh in on this seasonal depression thing a little bit?
Oop, is she there?
She's not muted, but maybe
if you hit your mute button and pop it back on, that might help. Sometimes that helps. StreamYard's been being really weird.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, when it happened to me, I could hear you guys, but y'all couldn't hear me. And then I hit the mic and then undid it, and that worked.
Okay,
nope,
so
she'll pop back in.
Nez is going to pop back in. So in the meantime, I'm going to read Jamie's post in here. Jamie says, I have this even more during Mother's Day because I have a toxic egg donor. All the messages about mother's love is so hard when you never had it. Wow. Yeah. So it's certainly not just Thanksgiving. It's all the holidays can have this idea surrounding them that things should be a certain way. That's a good point, Jamie. Mother's Day, and what about the people that aren't even mothers? But we all have a mother. I mean, they may have passed on, but we all are from a mother. So, and what do you do on Mother's Day if your mother wasn't all that great to you and you're supposed to celebrate her being a mother, regardless of whether she was a good mother or a bad mother? So, thank you, Marisa. If you're back, well, I see that you're back, but let's try your sound. Yeah, there you go. Weigh in for us on this idea of seasonal depression and what maybe, if you have any suggestions for people, what they can do if they don't match the Norman Rockwell poster card cutout of the way holidays should be. What do you think?
I think that if you have breath in your body, if you are not attached to a bunch of tubes and wires and machines, if you're not in a hospital or a hospital bed, if you have clean clothes and a place to lay your head at night, food and reasonably clean water as far as it can be with all the poisons going on out there. But if you have those necessities, if you have people in your life that you love and who love you, those are things right there that you have to be very thankful for.
Right.
And there is no holiday accoutrement that's going to make your life any better by having those trimmings and trappings and this food and that present at this day, at this time. It's those important things, those necessities of life, and the love from the other people is what matters. And if you are a Christian, if you follow Jesus, you've got, again, the best reason of all to be thankful every single day. Depression is an attack from the enemy, as far as I'm concerned in my Christian walk. Depression is a spirit, and depression works actively to bring you down, to put you down, to bring other people down, to it's like a cloud. Think of it like a dark cloud over your head, always trying to keep you sad, always trying to keep you down.
Right.
And you don't have to give in to it. It takes a little doing. You got to stand up and say no to it at some point.
Yeah.
But there are people out there who are willing to listen. There are always phone numbers to call or
Right.
chat now to go to online where you can talk to medical professionals, you can talk to counselors, whoever you need to talk to if you're in a dark place.
Yeah.
Please don't think you're alone. That's
Right.
a big lie right there. You're not alone. I've
No.
struggled with depression for many years,
Yeah.
and I know I'm not alone.
Right.
So don't ever believe the lie that you're in it alone. You're not.
Right. Thank you, Marisa. That was very helpful. Also, comedy is the best medicine. So even if you don't have anyone to spend these holidays with, if you have Netflix or Amazon or Hulu or even just regular TV, especially around the holidays, find a good comedy to watch. It might bring your spirit up a little bit. And of course, as Marisa was saying, if you're a believer, prayer really helps. The Holy Spirit, I don't believe, wants you to continue in a depressive state. And I believe that prayer can help in that area as well. Hope some of that helps. What do you think, Jen? Do you want to weigh in any more on the depression during the holidays thing? What do you think?
I'm trying to kind of word my response. I've gone back and forth with the whole just the idea of depression being demonic. I do think that can be the case.
Sure.
Just oppression because the enemy wants to keep us down and sad and
Yeah.
feeling like we're alone. And I don't know if that's always the case.
Right.
And so I don't 100% agree with Marisa, which I know she's fine with. But
Yeah.
I do agree in the sense that you're definitely not alone. There's so many people that deal with depression. It's and it's so easy to think that we're alone in it because it feels very isolating.
It does. Yeah.
And it just really, really does. And then you self-isolate because you don't want to be a bother to anybody or bring anybody else down. It's
Right.
very, very difficult. I've been through that as well. And it's not fun at all. And for me specifically, I don't know about you guys who have dealt with depression, but I think the biggest thing that kept me from reaching out and asking for help was the fact that I did not want to be a bother to anybody, which I think is
Right.
also in a way a lie of the enemy because he doesn't want you reaching out to people. He
Right.
doesn't want you talking to someone else where they can say, you know what, I've dealt with this too, and this is what helped me. It keeps you isolated when you don't want to be a
Yeah.
bother to other people. It's very, very difficult and it's a very dark place to be, but you guys aren't alone at all. You're definitely not. I know it feels that way, but you're not. You're not alone. We're here too if you guys need a vent or need prayer or anything. Holidays are hard.
Yeah.
I think when we're
Yeah.
kids, I mean, some of you may have had some holidays that were rough when you were kids too. I remember holidays being pretty good and joyful when I was little.
Yeah.
So then when you hit adulthood, you're like, what the heck happened?
Well, what happened when you were a kid, you don't have to worry about bills and keeping the lights on and working and all that
Society.
stuff. I mean, just your
And you're not really aware of the family dysfunction.
no. Oh,
And you're like,
well,
everything's great.
Uncle Bob's laughing a little too loud and he can't seem to stay stable against the kitchen counter. What's that about? We have no idea,
He's just super funny.
Yeah, he's Bob. Uncle Bob's just super funny. Yeah. I mean, that's another thing, people drinking around the holidays. That can be a big issue. I mean, we won't stay on that for too long, but I think that's the worst thing a person can do if they're dealing with depression. I mean, it's easy to think, well, people who drink are merry. That'll help. I don't think it helps that much to drink while you're depressed, but people do it for sure, especially around the holidays. They think that that might be the best way to deal with it, and it isn't always well, it's almost never the best way to deal with it for sure. So there's that. So I hope some of that helped, and we're never trying to come up with the answer for each individual. We know that you have your own story, you have your own family situations and things like that. Just a couple of suggestions on a couple things to do around the holidays. But I liked what everyone said, and what I take away from most of that is that you're not alone. That's important to know. There are people that want to be there for you in whatever way they can. I also know that there are a lot of people that don't, Marisa made some good points. And, if you're not hooked up to tubes and things like that and you have a roof over your head. And I'm glad that she said that, because there are many people that don't have that stuff. They don't have a roof over their head. And Thanksgiving is a big day where a lot of these groups, church groups and things like that, especially the Catholic Church even, whatever your feelings are about the Catholic Church, they're real big on charity, and providing food for the homeless folks and, soup kitchens and things like that. And also for the people that want to look like they're being charitable, it's a big deal for them to serve in a soup kitchen for a couple hours on Thanksgiving. But that can be a way for people that don't struggle with depression and they want to be a help to someone. Being someone that serves in a soup kitchen or just smiles at someone, even when you're out somewhere, letting people know you don't know what people are going through. So if you're out somewhere and you've got a light inside you, just letting another person know with a smile that they're not alone and that you care about them.
Oh, no sound again.
I can hear you.
I can hear you, Nez.
Okay, good. Phew. I couldn't
Like,
hear
oh,
anything in it. Good point,
I was
though,
going to say,
about...
oh,
go ahead.
I just was going to say one thing I've learned with gratitude. It does take practice. And if anybody likes to journal, having a gratitude journal really, really helps to get your mind in the mind frame of focusing on what you're grateful for. Because I used to really get stuck in a bad place of comparing myself to people or keeping my mind focused on things I didn't have. And that's a very depressive place to be. And of course, the enemy wants you to be looking at what you're lacking or what you don't have instead of the things that you do. So I also was going to say, I loved that advice, Marisa, about being grateful and thankful for the things we do have.
Yeah.
Right. And if you're getting antagonized, and I'm using the word antagonize because what I've gone through, and certainly Jenn and Jason, what you guys have gone through with certain family members, that is antagonizing. That's provoking, provocative, and not a friendly, loving manner to ask certain things, to go certain places, which is supposed to be a day of love and thanks and supposed to be happy and, a positive thing. And then, you get poked and prodded, which is exactly what that is. They're trying to provoke you.
Right.
That's very, very frustrating. And you get angry on top of being already, borderline depressed.
Yeah.
And if they're trying to discuss things that are, not
appropriate,
concomitant with a thankful attitude, if it's coming at, padded criticism, who the hell needs that? Especially on supposed to be a family gathering, especially supposed to be a positive time.
That's right. Nobody needs that. Thank you, Marisa.
Nobody needs that. And can I say hello to Prela Minimal?
Yes.
Hello, Prela Minimal.
Yes, I was just about to do that because they're making some good points in there. Be a loving light. Get over yourself. Be part of the humanity. People are suffering. This ain't no disco. And then to Edward, he says, anything, Edward, or anytime, Edward, uplift each other. These are really, really good things. Thank you for your comments. I appreciate that. Yeah, be uplifting. And it is a choice. It is a choice to be uplifting to people, to make it a point to realize that even if you don't know someone's story, you don't know every detail about a person, I don't think, with all the mask wearing and stuff that started in 2020 and it's still going on. We went and saw a movie the other day, and I was surprised to see how many people were still wearing masks. Now it's a choice. If people feel like that helps them, they could wear it. That's not the point I'm making. But with all this mask wearing, I think part of what they were trying to do was, that and the 6 feet of separation and things like that. And, automatic checkout counters and just all this stuff seemed to happen all at once. And I'm sorry, I know I get labeled a conspiracy theorist and all that, but I do believe that it was all intentional, and they were trying to, at the bottom of everything, separate people. And that's what better way to control people than to make it seem like you can't look at someone in the face and you can't talk to someone. You have to stay at least 6 feet apart from someone. I mean, in the holidays over the past 2 years, I'm sure that it has been more difficult for people than the 2 years previously before all this stuff started. And the result of which is, with people wearing their masks and stuff, you can't see if they're smiling. I heard someone argue about this and say, well, you can look at the smile when it goes to their eyes. I was like, I shouldn't have to do that. If someone's smiling at me, I want to see their smile. I don't want to try to guess by looking at their eyes as to whether it's a real smile or not. Anyway, just smile at someone is my point. If you're out at a convenience store or out at a restaurant or at the grocery store and you lock eyes with someone, just smile at them. Let them know that you're a person in the world that sees them as a person in the world. That can go a long way. You don't know what that might do for someone.
Yeah. It's a powerful thing, a smile.
I think it is. I think it can.
Have you guys
be.
noticed that people nowadays, like when I go out, I feel like everyone is like avoiding eye contact with everybody else.
I have
It's
noticed
so strange. I'm like I'll try to catch people's eyes to smile, and nope, they're not buying it. They're looking elsewhere.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Well, the propaganda's really done its work, hasn't it? We're supposed to hold people in contempt if they don't go with the mainstream belief on this and that and the other thing. We're supposed to hold people with the air of suspicion and think them bad citizens and irresponsible and murderous even. Terrible things that we've been told we ought to be thinking and suspecting of one another if our differences, points of view, especially regarding this topic or that, are different. Yes.
I agree.
A lot of eyebrows and a lot of stink eyes being given out there.
Stink eyes.
Yeah. So the bottom line, guys, is we know it can be difficult for people around the holidays, but it's difficult every day with all the stuff going on in the world. So if you're not struggling, even if you are struggling, it takes a second to smile at someone or do something nice for someone, whether you know their story or not. Be kinder in traffic, because there's a lot of traffic, especially around the holidays. And I'm saying that to myself. As I've shared many times, this is something that I have struggled with in the past, doing a lot better. And part of why I'm doing better is I don't drive as often.
That's smart. Oh, is that why?
Just staying away from it altogether. No.
That's funny.
Yeah. So so we're gonna close it down for tonight, guys. But we just wanted to get together with everyone for an hour or so and just see how everyone's doing. And actually, I was surprised that this many people showed up for our little broadcast this evening. But we have 12 people in the chat right now. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to join us on our little impromptu.
Yes, thank you. I'm willing to hang out a little bit longer if people want to just chill for another few more minutes. I'm okay if you are.
Sure. Yeah, let's hang out for a few more minutes, maybe 10 more minutes. Does that work for everyone?
Yeah. Does anybody out there in the chat have any particular issues that come up for you during this time of year that you struggle with? Or do you have any suggestions on how to get through some of these rough times to share with other people? Throw that out there.
That's a great
Hello,
question.
Meep Music. I love you, Meep. Okay.
And Andrew just popped in as well, so we'll say hello to Andrew. Andrew just popped in the chat.
I'm going to mute for a few seconds because I'm just going to put on some rice.
Oh yeah, put on some rice. See, we have my lovely wife is cooking a pork roast, and it's been sitting in the crock pot for a while, and so I have that to look forward to as well, which is great. So if anyone has any suggestions on what to do during the holidays, we would love to hear that from anyone that wants to share. Andrew, good to hear you guys. Yeah, Andrew is one of Marisa's friends, and as I have said, you know, when you come over to True Story Live, which Marisa is obviously a part of, then you become our friends too, and vice versa when I go over there. And I've been so blessed to meet so many new people as a result of going on Nez Lover's channel, and yeah, really getting to know people from the chat, and then a lot of them come over here to True Story Live and continue to be a part of our lives. And we just hope everyone, regardless of your situation, hope everyone had something that they could be grateful for over the holidays. And it's very important to, you know, count your blessings and things like that. And this is, you know, that's every day, but this is one time of the year when, whether it's brainwashing or not, you know, it's this one day a year that we're asked to be thankful for things. You can be thankful every day, but especially around the holidays, if you're struggling with one thing or another, is to just try to remember what you can be thankful for. And as Marisa mentioned, if you're not in the hospital, that's at least one thing you can be thankful for. You know, if you have a roof over your head and you have power's turned on. Go ahead, Marisa.
As bad as things may be for you personally, emotionally, financially, whatever, remember that, yes, there are people better off with more. So what? There are also people worse off than you at the same time.
Right.
And I think you just need to put it in perspective and be thankful to be alive.
Yeah.
And your situation is unique to you. And I believe that God made each of us for a special reason to be alive right here today. And if you need help, don't be ashamed to ask for help.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us got guilt and shamed growing up that, my grandmother wouldn't want to ask for help for this or that because she'd be embarrassed should someone in town see her or reach out for help for this or that.
Right.
If you're too embarrassed to ask for help, how much do you really need to help? You know, clearly. You know,
I think there are some people that need it a lot, but that guilt and shame that they grew up with is just so strong.
That's nonsense. And if you need help, I always feel better if I try to help somebody else, even if you're just listening. You know, even if you just give a listening ear to somebody, that you're helping them will help you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I mentioned off air, Marisa, that there are people out there. Sometimes you just want someone to listen. I'm glad you brought that up. Sometimes you don't need advice. You don't need suggestions. You don't need a lecture. You just want someone to listen to you and hear you.
And
a voice and validation.
Right. And it's so easy to do to someone, for someone, is just to listen to them. And you don't have to, like I said, you don't have to lecture them or try to make any suggestions of how they can work it out. Now, if they ask you for that, then of course, by all means, but just to listen. Sometimes that is extremely helpful to a person. Maybe they feel like no one is listening to them. Maybe they don't have a soft ear to listen to what they're going through. Validation, since Glenn's not here, validation can go a long way.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, it can.
Yes, it can. I was going to read, let's see. Andrew says, thanks, smoothing things out with family. Yes, grateful. And then Preliminal says, thanks, everyone. Keep spirit up. The future is beautiful. Jamie says, one thing that helped me last year when I was struggling so much was to go and help others. It changed things a lot. What a great point, Jamie. Yeah, it's helping out, helping someone else. It's a neat little thing that God put right into doing good works. Now, they don't save you, but they are, God definitely wants his children to do good things for others. It makes it very, very clear, I believe, in Scripture. When a built-in thing, when you help someone else, it always helps you in some way, even if it's just internally, emotionally, spiritually. Helping someone else helps you. And if you don't believe me, try it. Try helping someone And, for some people, maybe it starts out as something you deliberately set out to do. You just decide to help someone, do one thing for one person today. And see how that makes you feel when you see, maybe it's not even the way they react to you doing something, but you just know that there's a feeling that comes up inside you, at least it has for me, when helping people. And now it's just natural. I want to help people. And it's not just for the good feeling that I get. It's because that's what we're supposed to do. And I have been helped by others. And I want to pay it forward, so to speak, for others. So that was a great suggestion. Thank you for that. And then Meeps Music says, what I've noticed is that people are desperate to have the holidays come earlier this year in particular. And that's a powerful indicator of where the whole world is at this time in their heart. Yeah. So, I don't go to malls and things like that, but it does seem like if department stores and malls are any indication of them trying to make the holidays come sooner, of course they want them to come sooner. I guarantee you that after Black Friday, the Christmas decorations are up now. They want people to be in the buying holiday mood for Christmas. So there you go. Rachel says, then I considered, wait, let me see if there's she said something before that. I don't see anything. Rachel says, then I considered all the skillful, it's a scripture. Okay. Then I considered all the skillful work that is done. Surely it is nothing more than competition between one person and another. This also is profitless, like chasing the wind, Ecclesiastes 4:4. And that's the NET version. Thank you, Rachel, for that scripture. Yeah, Ecclesiastes is a great book for people to read to kind of put things in perspective. It can be a little depressing in spots because I think it's my opinion that Solomon wrote Ecclesiastes toward the end of his life. There are lots of indicators at that, especially the verses about sound in the streets and closing the doors. He's talking about his eyesight failing and hearing failing in some ways and being more intensified in others. And if you've ever been around a older person, noise gets to them a lot more than it used to, and they're cold or hot all the time. Yeah, when you get older, things happen. But Ecclesiastes, from Solomon's perspective, he basically says that there's nothing new under the sun and everything's chasing the wind. You do this, it's chasing the wind. You do that, it's chasing the wind. But there's some wisdom in that. His bottom line is to love God and, do your work and stuff like that. I think that loving others, doing things for others, doing as much as you can to be part of someone having a better day. I mean, it's not your responsibility, but you can do something to affect someone else's day just by showing them kindness, being salt and light, as we're supposed to be. We're supposed to be a city set on the hill that cannot be moved, and we're not supposed to put a bushel or a cover over our light, the light that God gives us. And I know it's hard because sometimes we're struggling ourselves, but just remember that there are people that don't even have the light inside them of the Holy Spirit. So I think it's especially important for believers, all people, of course, important for all people to show love towards others. But I think we have an extra mandate as children of the King to share whatever light we have with other people. And it's especially important at holiday times.
Yes.
All right. How are we doing on the rice, babe? Are we close?
It's cooking.
It's cooking.
It's cooking. 15 minutes.
Okay. Let's go ahead. I'm ready to say goodnight to everyone. And so let's say our closing comments. And Marisa, we can start with you. Just please take as much time as you want. And if you have any closing comments or wishes for everyone for the holiday version of True Story Live toward the end of Thanksgiving, please take a few minutes and say goodnight to everyone. Well, you're going to say goodnight last, but go ahead and make your closing comments now if you want.
Certainly. Thanks, everybody, for coming by, and for everybody who chose to listen to this on the replay. Please take a moment and share it out on your social media if you aren't so inclined. Please and thank you. If you have any questions, please let us know in the comments. We do read the comments, so if you have any thoughts about what we were talking about, go ahead and leave them for us, and we'll take it from there if we need to take it from there. Love and prayers for Glenn and Sandra as they're on their little holiday and tending to things they need to tend to. And thanks again, everybody, for taking time out of your holiday weekend to hang with us here on True Story Live. I had a great time. I hope you guys did too. And just don't let the oppressiveness and the propaganda and the pushiness of what the world is trying to tell you of what you should be having and feeling and eating and wearing and buying and giving. Don't let that. I mean, it's all around us. You can barely breathe. It's oppressive.
Yeah.
It's smothering.
Yeah.
But you know what? In my experience, Jesus is the only way to come through that and breathe and be free of that. You don't have to do and say and eat and wear and buy all these things that we're getting told to from all these different directions.
Yep.
You keep that love in your heart and keep praying for one another. Keep forgiving yourself and other people.
Good.
Keep those very basic things close to your heart and care for other people. Reach out. Like I said, even if you can't afford to donate monetarily, donate your time.
Mm-hmm.
Give your ear to someone. Give someone some validation and some comfort of having a listening ear, because a kind word and taking the time to listen can prevent somebody from doing something harmful to themselves or someone else.
Yeah.
Don't underestimate what your action in that smallest way, how that can affect others around you and ripple beyond that in a positive way.
Right. Thank you, Marisa. Thank you so much. We'd like to say hello and goodbye to Wisconsin Greg, who just popped in. Normally Wisconsin Greg, normally we go 2 hours, but because it's a holiday and we don't have Glenn here. Now, we will do a full broadcast next Sunday night, and the topic will be announced. But I am working on a series that we'll do when Glenn gets back, because we definitely want all hands on deck about the who is God? What is the nature of God? Is he who pastors tell us he is? Is he who the Bible tells us is? Is he who society claims God is? And this is a big deal for me. I've been working on this, and it has been something Jenn and I have been looking at for a while. And so that's a series that will be coming once Glenn, in 3 weeks from tonight is when we'll be starting that series. But until then, tonight we did just kind of a Thanksgiving holiday weekend closure and wrap party. And then next week, we'll talk off air about who wants to do the write-up for next Sunday night. And then when Glenn comes back, we'll start that series. Also someone else popped in. I want to say hello to, I forgot who that was. That's not good. Oh, I remember what I was going to say. I put my email in the chat. And so if Edward Kim is still around, please feel free to send me an email. I would love to talk to you. And it seems like, just like a lot of us, you're going through a lot of different things. And like I said, sometimes it just is good for someone to listen. And I'm happy to listen if you want to take the time to shoot me an email. So please do that. It's in the chat there. And anyone else that wants to, if you have a suggestion for the broadcast, topics for us to do, if you just want to say hi, please shoot me an email. I promise to respond. So thank you for that. All right, so I'm going to say goodbye next, and then Jenn, and then we'll ask Marisa to close us down. I just want to say that this has been great. I know it's short, guys, but we just wanted to acknowledge you guys, the people that listen to the broadcast, and with it being the holiday, sometimes I assume that no one's going to come by, but I'm often wrong about that. Sometimes it's no holiday, and few people are able to come, but we had a lot of wonderful people in the chat, and we want to thank everyone who did take the time out of their weekend to come by and just say hello. And that's what we wanted this to be about, just talking a little bit about the holidays and how hard they can be and how glorious they can be as well, and some suggestions for what we can do if we're struggling or if we think someone else might be struggling. And I think we accomplished that goal. So again, this will be the last broadcast of November. We'll see you guys next December, next Sunday night. And I'm just so grateful for the love of my amazing wife and family, and especially the love of God and Marisa and Glenn and Sandra and all you people, not you people as in like you people, but all the people in the chat that I've gotten to know from Marisa's channel, from our channel, and people that just pop in randomly. We appreciate you guys, and we hope that this holiday season has been really, really good. But if not, we know that God's mercies start new every morning. So tomorrow can be a way better day for a lot of people, and just expect that and pray for that. Also, if you want prayer for anything, Marisa all the time asks for people to pass your prayer requests along. You can do that in the chat. You can send an email to me, and if you want to say something to Marisa or Jenn or Glenn, you can send it to me, and I will pass along to them. But of course, Marisa's free to pop her email in there if she wants any prayer requests. And just really quick, if you haven't been over to Nez Lover's channel, she's an amazing artist, and Jenn goes on there occasionally, and she's also an amazing artist, and watching the two of them work together, it's a highlight of my week. It really, really is. And she does commissions in there. So I'm sure you can get in contact with her if you want something drawn or painted. So make sure and do that. Go over there and visit Nez Lover's channel, and just say hello. If you go over there and stop over there, just make sure and say hello in the chat. She's very welcoming, and she'll make sure to acknowledge your existence while you're there. So please do that. So good night, everyone, and we'll see you next Sunday. And thank you for being part of True Story Live. Jenn, take some time. If you have any closing comments, you want to say goodbye to everybody, please do.
All righty. Good night, everybody. So glad y'all popped out to hang out. We know this is short, but thanks for coming and hanging out with us during this short time and discussing the holidays.
Yeah.
There's always plus and minuses, and sometimes, it's off kilter a little bit, but
yeah,
you guys are good company, and hopefully we're good company for you as well. And we're just very, very grateful that you guys exist and that you're part of our TSL family. And we all survived. We made it to the other side of Thanksgiving. Woo!
We did.
Party! And I can't believe it's almost December. But thank you guys. We're always praying for you guys. And like Jason said, pop any prayer requests either in the comments section, chat box, or email. And we would love to pray for you guys. Thanks so much for hanging out with us tonight. We'll see you guys next week.
Thank you, Jenn. Marisa, if you would be so kind as to close us out, and any other comments you want to make, go ahead, please.
Thank you. Thanks again, everybody, for joining us this evening here on True Story Live. And God willing, we will see you next Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm feeling a lot better than I have the last couple of weeks, so hopefully I'll have a promo up and ready to remind everyone for next Sunday's show. And hopefully Jason and Jenn can join me either Friday or Saturday this coming week. To have fun with our art. Maybe we'll do an art truther chat. Well, I don't know. We'll just wing it and see what happens. Okay. We'll have fun with our art one way or another. Don't let these times get you down. They're designed to. I totally believe that. But don't let it happen. There's too many good people out there that could use a kind word, a moment. Help someone if they've got burdened with packages or groceries.
Yeah.
Sometimes people spill stuff when you're out in the world, and people walk by or get a video with their phone instead of helping somebody out.
Oh my gosh.
It just takes a moment to make a difference. So please take the moment to do that. Don't let these times get you down.
Yes.
You start to feel the pull down, help pull someone up, and you'll both be pulled up. I love you guys. God bless you. Jesus loves you. So do I. Have a fantastic week. Stay strong out there. Stay safe. Stay careful and healthy. And God willing, we will see you here on True Story Live. Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time next week. I'm looking forward to it. Good night and God bless.